there folks, welcome back to Rule of Thumb, and today we're going to do another video for Jarred Up January. And also, I'm debuting my chef's coat. This was a gift from my mother-in-law this year, and I absolutely love it. It is just fun, it's cool, it's, something that is going to be, kind of my signature in the channel now. A little bit different look, so hope you guys like it. It's got the little shoulder pockets for the thermometer, the whole 9 yards, so pretty excited about this. So anyways, I'm going to bring you guys along today for a soup recipe. Now, as many of you know, I am primarily what is called an ingredient canner. So typically I can items that I can open and combine and make into meals because I like to have the flexibility to do with the ingredients what I want. The reason why I've chose to make a soup today is because we like to have soups that we can grab and go for lunch. So what I'm going to be doing is canning pints of soup, and I may even do another one yet this month. What I'm going to make today is a hamburger vegetable soup with a tomato base. This was a suggestion from Mandy at More to Life. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually layer in the ingredients in the jar first. The hamburger, I'm going to use carrots, mushrooms, and potatoes. And then I am going to pour over the liquid, which is a combination of V8 juice and tomato juice that I have seasoned with a little salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder. And that's how we're going to make the soup. So what I'm going to do is actually change the angle here. I'm going to show you the ingredients and talk about them a little bit. And then I'm going to get set up and we're going to assembly line can this because it's going to be basically warm, not hot. Because what I'm going to do is use cold vegetables or room temperature vegetables and meat. Because my wonderful husband cooked up the hamburger for me last night. And then I'm going to ladle over some hot tomato / V8 juice into the jar so it'll be warm. We're going to get it into a warm canner and we will slowly bring the temperature up, and that's how we're going to can it. So let me change the angle here and then I will bring you folks back. Okay, so as you can see here, I have carrots. I have mushrooms that I blanched, so I just brought a pot of water to a rolling boil, put these in there, let it come back up to a boil, boil these for just a couple minutes, just so that they're, tender. I don't want them cooked all the way, but I didn't want to put raw mushrooms into the soup, so they're just slightly cooked. And then I've got potatoes. Now, both my carrots and my potatoes, grab one of these here, get you up a little bit closer here. You can see they are a little bit larger than probably what I would typically put in a soup. The thing we have to remember when we're canning meat and vegetables together is that we are going to have to can for the time for meat. So pints is always 75 minutes and quarts is 90 minutes. So I kept my vegetables a little larger because I didn't want them to completely fall apart. They're going to get soft, that's okay. I don't mind a soft vegetable in soup, but I didn't want them to become just, part of the sauce. So that's why I went a little bit bigger on those. So what I'm going to do is, and then I had V8 and tomato juice. I did a little over 6 quarts together between the two. I mixed them up. I added some onion and garlic powder, salt and pepper. You do that to taste. The reason why I did the sauce separate is so that I could get the sauce to the flavor that I wanted it to, as opposed to trying to season it individually in the jars. So I'm going to get set up with my jars here, and then I will bring you folks back as I'm starting to load the jars so you can see how that process works. Okay, folks, we're back. So you can see I have my jars out here. These have all been, washed and rinsed. They don't need to be sterilized because they are going in a pressure canner, but I still always wash my jars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer one up here and show you kind of the process of what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these, and then I'll, bring you back after that, because I don't think you folks want to sit here and watch me fill all these jars. Now, what I did is I put out the maximum number of jars that are going to fit in my canner. I'm not exactly sure how far these ingredients are going to go. I did 2 pounds of ground beef, so I figured I'll start with the ground beef and see how far the ground beef gets me, and then I can do the rest of the vegetables from there, because I feel like if I'm going to run out of anything, it'll be beef. So that's how we're going to start. So what I'm going to do here is get myself a little spoon, and we're just going to probably do 2 heaping tablespoons maybe of ground beef in here. Let's see what we think about that. Okay, so see, I'm trying to think of a portion, like this is going to be a lunch for one of us. So I think that's plenty of beef in there. So we'll move on here. Good clean hands I'm working with, so I don't mind using my hands. I'm going to put in some carrots in there because I like carrots. We're going to add some mushrooms in there. And put in some potato. And I think what I'm looking for here is about half the jar to be ingredients. Get that in there. And then we'll be able to do the remainder with the broth, which is going to give us a good consistency of soup. So I think that one's good. I'm going to take this over here and put some liquid in it and bring it back so you can see it. So I have my V8 and my tomato juice mixture good and hot over here on my stove top. So we're going to ladle this in here, and we're going to go to 1 inch of headspace because we are pressure canning. So, got that in there. This is going to be warm probably because that liquid is warm. So, if you can see here, get this up here for you. I think that's going to be perfect. It's going to be the right amount of ingredients. You're going to have a nice broth in there. So, that's, I think, what our finished product is going to look like. So what I'm going to do is go through, fill the rest of these, and then I'll bring you back and show you what the next step is. Okay folks, we're back. I've got all the jars filled. So what I ended up using is I actually used the full 2 pounds of ground beef, and it was the perfect amount for 18 jars. I used about 7 medium russet potatoes, and about 2 pounds of carrots, and 3 pounds of mushrooms is what I started with. So that all went into the jars. The only thing I had left over was a little bit of carrot. So it ended up being the perfect amount. Now, I've got all the jars filled. I put liquid in them. Now the next step is to debubble the jars. So I'm using my handy dandy chopstick for this. Let me get down in there, make sure that there's no bubbles in any of these. It's soup, so it's, fairly liquidy, and you probably won't have to worry about too many bubbles, but you never know, because we did start out with ground beef in the bottom, and then we've got those chunks of potatoes and carrots in there. Something could get trapped in there. Now, I did give my rims a good wipe down already with a damp cloth, just to get any of the larger debris that might have been on there because of, doing assembly line filling like this, because sometimes that can get a little messy when you're doing a bunch of jars all at once. It's not typically how I like to can, but for soups, it seemed like it was going to be the best method for this to ensure that I'm getting equal amounts of the good stuff in every jar, because my biggest pet peeve when I'm making something is I get to the end and I feel like there isn't the same amount of stuff in the jar. Or, you know, if you're like serving soup at a party and you get to the last person and the last person has nothing in their bowl but broth, and then you have to go back and like try and redistribute the ingredients. I just tried to avoid all of that. So I thought this way I could see what was going into the jars. I felt like there was pretty much equal amounts in all of the jars. So now I've got these debubbled. What I did do was saved a little bit of the sauce that I had left. I did have to add another can of tomato sauce. So I used just shy of 4 cans. I used 2V8, 2 tomato juice. And that ended up being the perfect amount. But it looks like most of these I didn't need to add anything to. They're all pretty close. So we want to get right to that. Actually, is that one? Yep, that's good. Sometimes I gotta get right down in there to see where I want to be. And I feel like we are there. So now what I want to do is take some paper towel. Like I said, I did wipe these down. I still want to go back around now that I debubbled with my vinegar and just give them one more quick wipe down. Because see, I still did get a little bit there. So it's always worth, you know, double, triple, quadruple check in my book. You don't stand to lose anything by being overly cautious. So I'm going to get these wiped down here real quick, because for the most part these are pretty good. But just caution is when you're canning. The more safety precautions you can take for you and your family, the better off you can be. So now we got our rims, right? I can't speak today. Our rims wiped. Oh, this is a rough day for me today, apparently. So we get the lid on there. We'll grab ourselves a ring. We're going to get this on there fingertip tight. And there we've got the jar of soup to go in the canner. Now, like I said, my canner is just warm. It's not hot. So I'm going to get all of these in there, and I'm going to let my canner come up to pressure very slowly. So I'm not going to crank it up to high. I'm going to keep it on medium-low. Let it start to get nice and hot in there. Then I can raise the temperature up as need be. I'm going to bring it up until I get a steady vent of steam. Once that happens, I'm going to time that for 10 minutes. And then I will put my weight on, and I'm going to bring my pressure up to 11 pounds of pressure on my gauge, because that's what my canner calls for. And then I am going to can these for 75 minutes. And then I will let the pressure come down naturally from there. I'm going to, let it come all the way down, let it take its time, and then I will bring you back when we get to the end so you can see what the results are. Okay, folks, welcome back. So I just took the jars out of the canner, and I thought I would bring you in for a close-up here. So let's see if I can get you in here real close. I mean, these came out so gorgeous. The perfect headspace. I mean, just big chunks of potatoes. You can still see them in there. The mushrooms, the carrots. I mean, these are going to be some good lunches. So I just wanted to bring you back and show you that so you could see the finished product. I'm going to put this over here on my towel to cool. So that was hamburger vegetable soup. And those are going to be great lunches on our shelves. Okay, so I just thought I'd talk to you face to face. So hamburger vegetable soup, super easy. I love how it came out. I mean, I can definitely tell there's still some texture there in the vegetables, which makes me happy. So, I think this was an easy recipe. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, look for the upcoming videos as part of the collaboration. Jarred Up January is in full force. Check out Mandy's video tomorrow. And if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe. Come back and see us soon. And as always, I hope you had a great day.